I'm tired. So sometimes I will record class when I know people are not going to be there. So I'll do that for today in case you miss anything. So what I was going to say is sometimes if you send me an email and you're like, I'm really struggling with this homework question, I've tried like 3 different things and I can't figure it out, I'll make like a quick video where I just screenshot it and show you the work. It's really impossible to write in text, how to do a chemistry problem. So I'll make a quick video and put it on YouTube. And then that's nice because then if other people have the same question, I can be like, just go see that video on YouTube. Okay. Otherwise, we can meet after my classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or we can meet on Google Meet. But just kind of so that you're aware, you can't just come find me in an office anytime. Okay, so let's kind of just hit the schedule first so you have an idea of where we're going, and then we will pull up the course syllabus to give you an idea of, I'm fairly organized, like I think most people would say, like the expectations are pretty clear. The hard part is that I generally push people pretty hard because chemistry is a difficult subject. It's going to be hard no matter what. And there's a certain expectation of like when you have Chem 1 on your transcripts, like there's a certain amount of knowledge that they expect you to have gained. So that's why I'm hard, is because I am trying to push you to gain that certain amount of knowledge. So that's the thing that I'm difficult on. Everything else, I feel like I'm pretty organized. The expectations are pretty clear. The grades are pretty clear of how your grade's going to be calculated. So I will try to put this up because these change, the schedule changes just depending on where we're at with things. I try to just post a snapshot of like where we're at until the next exam. And I'll do this, in September, I'll post another one for the next one. So in red is the exam. So the 17th of September is our first exam. So you can put that in your calendars. And in all likelihood, those will stay put unless there's some extenuating circumstances. I might shift it a day. Okay. In yellow is when Pearson assignments are due. So before every chapter, you'll have, and this will be in the syllabus, I'll tell you in a second, but before every chapter, you'll have like a pre-chapter reading assignment. So you read the assigned text, maybe you watch some videos associated with it, and you answer some pretty straightforward questions. You could do the questions without doing the reading, okay? I'm not stupid. I know you could get them right without actually doing the reading. The point is I expect you to do the reading, and so I'm having you do the questions as like a reminder of like you guys were supposed to do the reading before you came to class. So remember that it's to your benefit to do the studying beforehand, and I'm just trying to give you that little nudge. And if you just figure out how to answer the questions without doing it, that's your problem. You're the one that's going to suffer for it, okay? So before each chapter, we'll have that. And then at the end of each chapter, you'll have a adaptive homework assignment. So think like IXL, but in Pearson form. I know everyone's like, oh, I hate IXL. Yes, it's one of those where like you have to get a certain number of the questions right to show that you understand that particular concept. And if you don't get it, then it's going to keep throwing questions at you until you do. Okay? So that's through Pearson. So those are in yellow, like chapter 2 reading, chapter 1 reading. Chapter 1, it says DSM, it's like called Dynamic Study Module in Pearson. So DSM Chapter 1, DSM Chapter 2, and then the exam. Okay, so that is the format of all of the like graded stuff that you'll see every single unit, 4 units in the semester. So 4 exams, all before Thanksgiving. And then go to Thanksgiving, come back and review, and then have a final exam. That's literally the entire semester. Okay? So in a more formal setting, that's the calendar view. Go ahead and pull open the course syllabus. And if you guys will follow along with me, I will pull it up here and make some notes probably. But you can download that. So there we go. All right, so the description and objectives, whatever, you can read it. It's basically just what's in the course catalog. My email address is listed there. It's just my last name at RMU, but the spelling is maybe unexpected. Okay, so like I said, I have 3 classes all in this room, 9, 10, and 11. So technically you guys are section D. I probably won't remember. Just tell me you're in the 9 a.m. class if you're emailing me or something. Okay. And then we already talked about Pearson. That's like your textbook is part of the online subscription that you have already found, by clicking through and logging in. And then grade breakdowns are here. Not kidding. People will come to me and be like, oh, I really thought that a B plus was an 86. Like, it's right here. I've shown it to you already. So don't come complain to me in 4 months when you get an 86 and it's a B. Okay? All right, let's zoom in on this stuff here. Okay, so this is how your grades are going to pan out. Like I said, attendance and participation, I will periodically take attendance. You literally just need to show up and not be distracting, okay? So I have this on the next page, but like I hate when people have headphones in. That is the most irritating thing. You might have them off and you might be like, I'm listening. It feels like you're ignoring me. So take out your headphones. Try to not be like texting. Side conversations are really obnoxious unless you're talking about the material. And in that case, I love hearing you guys talk. So if we're working a practice problem, I am happy to hear conversations about how did you do this or checking your answers or whatever, okay? So show up and participate, 10% of your grade, easy, okay? This is the pre-class reading, and then these are the homework assignments. So like I said, those are the ones in yellow on the schedule. Roughly the same amount, but the study modules will take a little bit more time. So they're weighted a little bit heavier. And then the midterms exams, there's 4 of them, so 10% each for each exam, and your final's 15. It is a comprehensive final or a cumulative final. So all 4 of those midterms all of that material will be on the final exam. I don't usually do a comprehensive final I teach Chem 2 as well, and you will have me for that because I'm the only one that teaches it. So if you're taking Chem 2 next semester, really hope you don't hate me because you'll have me all year long, okay? All right, any questions about that? Grade breakdowns, kind of what's contributing to things. Please don't ask me for extra credit. This is college. Maybe there are people that give extra credit. I think that's ridiculous. Just do the work. Your extra credit is the fact that I give you 10% of your grade pretty much for free. You show up and don't fall asleep, you're going to get 10% of your grade. Okay. I do curve exams sometimes if there is an obvious, like I wrote the exam too hard. Okay. So if all 100 students that I have, we get an average, it's like a D, I'm going to put that on me. Okay. So if there's needed, I will curve it. Sometimes it's a little bit, sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes it's just because I make the exams too long. So, we do them in class, so they're 50 minutes. And if it's too long and then everybody does poorly because of that, then I'll compensate and curve the exams for that reason. Okay. All right. So then on the next one, I kind of have the breakdown of how each of these tips. So I would say people ignore the syllabus and don't come back to it. I actually put useful information in here. So throughout the semester, if you're like, I can't seem to get on top of this, I don't understand what she's saying, come back to this page in particular and go through what I say about each one of them. I'll address it briefly, but it's probably going to be meaningless until you're, in need of some help. So plan to come back to this page as needed. I would go ahead and just click on that and save. You can do the subscription thing, or what do you call that on YouTube? Follow, subscribe, I don't know, whatever. You can do that if you want so that it notifies you when a new video has been posted. I'll put any class recordings like this recording that I'm making right now. I'll put that on YouTube this afternoon. Like I said, if someone asks me a homework question, I'll do a quick video and put it on there. So go ahead and save that link for now so that you have it ready to go. It's just chemical C. And there's old stuff on there. It's really not relevant. You're welcome to watch it. But I got a comment sometime that was like, ma'am, this information has been very helpful. Could you address such and such? And I was like, I have no idea who you are. It was just some random kid that was like, this is really useful. Can you tell me about batteries? And I'm like, no, it's just stuff from my class. It's not labeled very well other than homework question such and such or lecture, Monday the 28th. Okay. If we have to cancel class, so if it's because of a weather issue, the university will let you know. And if it's because I'm sick, or typically it's my kids are sick, they are. So our kids are, we have a 12-year-old. So if it's her, I just make her stay home. And then we have twin 9-year-olds, boys, which a 9-year-old boy is difficult enough. You have two of them at the same time. So if it's my turn to stay home, then I will let you guys know by 7. So if you show up, I mean, this class, I can see you not seeing your email. It's a good habit, like a good grown-up habit. I told myself, who are freshmen, first year college? Okay, I don't think I realized that last year. Like, I've been here multiple years, but last year was the first year that I thought to ask that. And I was like, oh, geez, I really should take that on myself to, like, help you make the transition. So I'm going to try a little bit harder. So a good grown-up habit is when you wake up in the morning to check your official email. So instead of waking up and checking social media, wake up and like check your university email. Okay, that's a very good grown-up habit. So you can also just set notifications on your phone. Like some of my email accounts, I don't have notify me, but like my work one I do, so that if one of you guys emails me, it's going to pop up and I'm going to know. Okay, so I will email you on your RMU email by 7 a.m. if for some reason I'm not going to be here. But in the case of weather or me not being here, I will almost certainly have an alternative. Like I can't remember the last time, unless I was really sick. But I can't remember a time when I haven't basically done a recorded lecture and posted it. And nobody watches them. I don't understand. You can lay in your jammies in your dorm room and watch lecture, and yet people will like just not watch it, or they'll like not pay attention. So I will just record the lecture notes. I'll work through all the practice problems. And the intent is that you guys just watch it sometime in the day. And without fail, people are like, oh, I didn't really pay attention. I'm like, it's so much easier. You can like pause me and like go back and see me work the problem again. So please just plan on being consistent with that, because I will just, that's how I will treat days where we're not in class. It's not frequent. It just happens sometimes. There's something else I was going to say about that. And now I can't remember. I don't know. Whatever. Oh, I think I've tried doing Google Meets before. But when I have 3 classes, I literally teach the same thing 3 times in a row. And it gets really old. So sometimes I have done Google Meets and nobody responds. Like at least you guys will like give me some visual feedback or like ask questions when you're in here, but like I cannot sit there and say the same thing 3 times for an hour each when nobody is talking. So I just record it because it's the same thing, it feels like. So okay, all right, so grade breakdowns we talked about, being in class, that one here, expectations, stay, don't be on your phone, don't talk to about whatever, sports. Okay, so that's the in-class stuff, 10%. The preparation stuff. Okay, where is, let me pull open this other notes thing. This is in your notes. This. Okay, so this is how learning happens. This is me helping you make the transition to college. Okay, so in high school, you would sit there and your teacher would be like, I don't actually know how high school is, but your teacher would say, okay, now it's study time. I need you to complete this assignment. Or like, now we're going to work on this, I don't know, problem together or something. We do some of that in class, but I have seen like neighbor kids who did, what is it called? Chemistry in high school or chemistry college in high school. Anyway, that thing where you do a college level class and it's like AP, but it's like, they do it with Pitt or RMU. I don't know. How many of you guys are local, like grew up in Pittsburgh? That's a good number. Okay. We live in Montour, so that's the school district I'm talking about. So I don't know what it's called if anybody knows. The whole Chem 1 was a year-long class for them. And they were meeting, in high school, you meet every single day, right? For like 45, 50 minutes, okay? So they met 5 days a week for the entire school year to do what you guys are going to do in 4 months, meeting 3 times a week, okay? So we will not cover, like, the time you spend in class is very limited to the amount of time you're expected to spend out of class. I should have made this bigger, but this is, if you have not heard this before, I will try to remind you of this frequently, but a typical expectation in a college course is that every hour you are here in class, you should assume you're going to spend 2, and I would say even 3, maybe on test weeks, out of class study time. So you're in here 3 hours a week. You should put in your schedule another 6 hours of study time for this class. So the first thing I'm going to ask, if you're like, I can't keep up with the material, is I'm going to be like, are you spending about an hour before you come to class preparing? Are you spending about an hour doing homework afterwards? And are you doing it consistently? Because you can't, so the homework assignments are every chapter, so that ends up maybe about once a week or every week and a half or something, like every 10 days. You will not be able to do the homework if you try to sit down and do it the day before it's due. Like, there's just no way. You need to be consistently working on it throughout that week and a half, about an hour after class every day. Okay, so this could look like, I put an example here. So you come to class Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Maybe you go home and do the homework Monday, Wednesday, Friday afternoon, or Saturday, whatever, Sunday. And then maybe like on Tuesday and Thursday, you make time to do preparation. So this is like reading the material or watching some of the videos, like their key concept videos that are like embedded into the textbook, but doing preparatory work before you come to class. Okay, so that is going to be my very first question when you say you're struggling, is how much time are you spending out of class? So sorry if that's a reality check. I feel like that's probably something you guys heard in orientation. If not, there it is. Okay, let me switch back over to the syllabus. All right, so that was my preparation lecture. So there was something on there I was going to show too, but there's kind of 3 broad times in learning. You're going to do learning the material the first pass through on your own. So this is reading the textbook, like I'm trying to understand what is the difference between a chemical and physical change. How can I identify them? And you do all you can in the textbook by yourself. Then you come to class and we do the exact same thing again, but you have an introduction so that when you feel like I'm going fast, I'm not actually, because you've seen the material once. So if you say like, I can't keep up with you in class, it's probably because you're not studying the material beforehand. So I ask you to do these chapter readings before the chapter, and maybe you do a rough overview, but you might even consider like rereading parts of the chapter as we go through that week or 10 days of covering the chapter, so that you've been given a general introduction to the material before you show up. That's when class doesn't feel too fast, as if you've seen it once already. Okay, so that's the first pass at the material. Then the second pass of the material is in class. I cover and go in depth into the difficult stuff. Maybe I show you a couple examples. We do some example problems, because you have to actually apply it or else it's not gonna, make sense. And then that's the second pass. And then the third pass is doing the homework, which is where you are having to do some of those practice problems without me holding your hand. Because people will see the practice problem in class and be like, oh yeah, that totally made sense. And then you try to do one without me there walking you through the steps, and it's a lot harder. So you do that. You can work with friends if you need to. It's good if you can do some of it on your own, because then you're kind of proving to yourself that you understand it. And then the exam is you actually showing me. So there's like the learning the material, you should see it 3 different times in different ways to really internalize it. Okay, so the grades are associated with that. There's preparation, so that's that first pass. The attendance portion, that's the in-class, and then the homework, that's your other portion. Okay. All right, what else? I already said this before, but I'm just going to highlight it. You need to start the homework as soon as we begin the chapter. So you're going to have chapter reading due on Wednesday before you come to class. So Tuesday night, really, all of the assignments are due at 11:59 on the day that they're due. So we start chapter 1 on Wednesday. So you're going to have to do the reading for chapter 1 on Tuesday night by 11:59. By do the reading, I mean complete the questions, but you're going to want to do the reading as you go along with that. Then when we finish class on Wednesday, you're going to have done a little segment of chapter 1. So what I think you should do is then go home either on Wednesday or Thursday and do as many of the homework problems as you can for chapter 1. Maybe we did 2 or 3 sections, so then you go do the associated homework problems, the ones that are on that topic. So ideally, you're doing a little bit of the homework every time, and then when you get to the due date for the homework, you're almost completely done and you're just finishing up that last section or 2. Does that make sense? So you should have it almost completely done by the due date. That is why there is no late credit, because this is not like a finish the assignment and turn it in. It's an as-you-go thing. So whatever you have finished by the due date, that's the percentage you'll get on the assignment. So if you've been steadily working on it, and let's say something comes up and you're like, I just don't have time, I have to study for this other test, and you don't finish that last 10 or 15%, then you'll get the 90 or 85% that you've done, because that's the topics you have mastered, okay? I think everyone's familiar with these adaptive homework programs. Everyone uses IXL or something like it, okay? So however much of it you've mastered at that point, that's the credit you get. So it baffles me when people are like, have 0% and they say, I didn't have time. I'm like, you had a week and a half, okay? All right, there's the tentative exam dates if you want to put it in your calendar. If you already know that you have a sports absence traveling, you guys need to email me. I don't want them by hand. Email me your travel letters, and I'll just keep a copy of that and then remind me, in that week leading up to the test, and we'll schedule a makeup time. You have to have a travel letter or you have to have a note from a doctor. So I will say this one more time. If you are sick, you're going to have to get your ass to the student health center at some point and get some evidence that you were actually sick. I don't care if you're puking. If you just send me an email and you're like, I can't make it to the test, I'm so sick, I'm going to be like, okay, make sure you go to the student health center this afternoon and get a note saying you were. Otherwise, you literally are going to have a 0 on an exam, which is going to be a big deal. It's 10% of your grade. Okay. All right, and then the final schedule is already printed. This is like a university schedule, so it's already set. So ours is on December 10th. Not sure how much you care. There is one earlier, so my class, my 11 a.m. class has it on Tuesday. If you want to take it early, I'll let you do that, but you can't take it later. Can't take it on the Thursday one. Okay. Let's look at the notes and then see what questions you guys have. So make sure you have a copy of these saved and pull them open. We will start with this one on Wednesday. Okay, now I'm going to check through and see if I said everything I was supposed to. I gave you the link to the YouTube channel. We looked at the syllabus. We went through Blackboard. Don't look at that for your grades. Link to Pearson. Okay, so we need to look at Pearson is the only thing we really have left. And then we talked about this idea of like the 3 different places where you're learning the material. And then I have this down here. I think I'm just going to leave it and you guys can look at it as you're on your own. But these are just tips for how to do well, because most people are not going to pay attention to this until they're struggling. So if you start to feel like you're struggling, come back to this and look at am I doing this? Am I using these additional materials? Am I asking questions, of my peers? If I remember back, some of my closest friends are friends that I made in college through study groups. So it's very beneficial to you to start to get to know other people. Like I said, of the 120 people at the university taking Chem 1, I probably teach 100 of them. So you very likely might know someone else that's taking chemistry and they're probably taking it from me. So get together and study with them. Ask questions of each other. Whenever you teach somebody else how to do something, you're going to remember it 10 times better. So when you're in a study group and you feel like, oh, they're just dragging me down because they keep asking questions, they're getting help, but also you're knowing the material better because you're teaching it to somebody else. Okay, so there's always advantages to working with others. What questions do we have before I move over to Pearson? Let me get a drink. Let me take a breath, and you guys can think about what questions you have. No, you do not get your exams back to use to study from, because then I couldn't really use them again in the future, or even like any questions from them. I'm sure you guys know that. Well, if you don't, this is a bad thing to tell you, but like there will be like fraternities and sororities that have like filing cabinets full of old exams. Honestly though, if you're gonna go through all those old exams and study them, like I'm not sure how much I really care, but they are multiple choice. I didn't say that. So they're Scantrons, like bubble sheets. They're like 20 questions typically, 50 minutes. Every year, I feel like I make them shorter and shorter. You're always welcome to come meet with me. Even if you just send me an email, like I'll always have the exams. You can come look at which ones you got wrong. Just come before class and we can do that. So, yep.
They're multiple choice.
Yeah, okay. Yep, multiple choice. Any others? Okay. All right, so in Pearson, you should see the assignments. I like to look at there's a calendar view and a list view. It will pop up here, like, it says that your chapter 1, 2 of you guys have done it apparently already. So it says your chapter 1 reading is due tomorrow. It means by the end of the day. I used to have them set to be like the morning that they're due, so that, if you're a late night studier and you want to do it at 2 a.m., the problem is then people thought that meant by the end of the day, and it doesn't. So, oh well, we're done with that. If you click through, it'll show you the upcoming ones. You can also look at the calendar view, and it'll, show you, okay, you've got that chapter 1 due here, the chapter 2 readings due there. It's going to match the calendar that I have on Blackboard, but at least this way you can like click them and actually open the assignment. Okay? So just to give you a preview of what it looks like. So there's these 3 questions. Also, wait, hold on, go back. So it says, read chapter 1, section 1 through 8, watch key concept videos. So I don't, like in chapter 2, I don't cover the history stuff, although it's very interesting. We just don't have time. So I think we start at like section 4 in chapter 2. So always take note of the assignment for the reading, so that you're not reading stuff that you don't need to be, that you're not going to be responsible for. Okay? And then you're going to have the key concept video. This is embedded in the textbook, which I'll show you in a second how to find that. But it's also listed right here, and then there's a question associated with it. Okay, so it's fairly straightforward. So if you're in this and the textbook's a little bit weird this semester. I feel like they changed it. But if you go to Pearson eText, it looks like they're really pushing the Pearson Plus thing, which is like an app that you can put on any given tablet, but you can also just see there, like open the app. You can also just open it up in the browser. So if you just say open e-textbook right here, that's where you're gonna go. They have all these other like different help videos. I know videos are how you guys learn most of the time now. There is something to be said for a textbook that you can read a sentence and like stop and think about it and make sure it makes sense to you. So when I say read, this is my little blurb again on recognizing you guys are transitioning into college. So when I say read, I do not mean like, let me get to a part. Okay, water molecule is composed of 1 oxygen atom and 2 hydrogen. Like, not just reading the sentences, but being like, okay, an atom, there are these 2 atoms, they're bonded together. Okay, so a molecule means it's some atoms that are bonded to each other somehow. Like, you're kind of repeating to yourself what the information you're gaining is, and you can do it sentence by sentence. This is why I like reading. I like a textbook, because a video, like if you want to review it, you're going to have to go back 10 seconds, and it's actually probably going to end up taking you more time to review what they just said and make sure it makes sense to you. Whereas you can just skip up to the next sentence and kind of find those key points for yourself. So if you're not a textbook person, give it a try. Like, I find it particularly useful. Are you in this class or my next class? Like, are you 40 minutes late or 20 minutes early?
I think it may be 20 minutes.
All right. That's fine. All right, so I really enjoy a good textbook. This one is pretty decent as long as you follow along with like what I actually tell you to read instead of reading the entire chapter. And honestly, if you can do all of the questions without reading sections 1 through 8 that day, that's fine with me. But then what you can do is go into the notes and you can see, I mean, it's not labeled by section, but in the notes, I usually put a blank slide where I anticipate going to at the end of the day. So like I'm intending that we're going to get through, sorry, what is that view that I just changed it to? There. So I'm intending we're going to get through this material on Wednesday. So if you want to go and see, okay, that's this many sections, and you want to focus in on reading those sections, and then say for the next ones for Friday, I'm going to focus in on reading this sections, that's fine too. You do need to actually have read all the material though. All right, last thing in Pearson is the homework assignments. So again, you can find those in the calendar. So I'm going to flip to September because I think the first one's there. Okay, so like on the 7th, with the little orange squiggly, it looks like a flame kind of. Those are the homework assignments. And those are the ones that'll be adaptive and they'll change. And then I don't know where your grades look like. I'm not going to open up the grade book right now, but there's something there that says grades. So I will have to manually put in your exams, but I'll put them in Pearson and your attendance. But I'll put them in Pearson, and then your homework and like before and after class stuff will show up automatically. All right. Any questions that are just general? We'll do that now. Otherwise, you can stay if you have like a specific concern. Or if you're not connected to Pearson yet, please don't leave if you're not already linked to Pearson. Any other general course questions, though? Yeah.
I can't see the assigned reading.
You can't see that. Can anybody else not see the assigned reading? Like when you look at assignments, try going to a list view. So some of them, let's see, from 8:16. Maybe just let me look at yours. You guys. There's 34 of you that, or there's 2 of you that have completed it. So why don't you just bring your computer up and show me? Okay, if you have not connected to Pearson, stay here and we'll figure it out. Oh, yes, okay. Pearson is terrible about pop-ups. It is almost certainly a pop-up blocker, and it's way worse on Apple.
Okay.
So yeah, so check your pop-up blockers and make sure you're allowing it for any Pearson thing, and anytime it says I can't see this, then hit allow. And you can always go through Pearson support too, but it'll take forever. Yep.
Can you show me how to get the textbook on Pearson Course?
Okay. Go up to, let's see, go to My Courses. Okay, so go back to your regular Pearson class and then start from eText and click through there. And let me see what it looks like when you open that up. Yep, so go to open, note down, open Pearson Plus. Yep, right there.
Perfect.
Yep.
Just click the wrong button.
That's
Thank you so much.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know where the sheet went. Oh, it's right here. There you go. That was like really bright. Let me block that for a second so I can see what I'm. Okay.
So I'm taking a trip to Greece on November 21st.
Lucky you.
Which is an exam day, so.
Okay, just take it before you leave because that's the last one and it's right before Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
So we'll just find a time that you can take it. Usually I have the day before is a review day. So if you want to roughly just plan on taking it on Wednesday, and then you'll just want to make sure you ask any questions before.
Do you want me to show you like the plane ticket so it's an excuse, or how do you want me to do that?
No, will you just email me?
Yeah.
I know, you're right. I should be like, no, 0. Just email me so that I have it like as a record that I remember.
Okay.
But otherwise just tell me before you go. That's
Alright.
kind of a big deal one. It's not like you know ahead of time. You're not
Yeah.
trying to get out of it because
Yeah.
you're sick. So
I know.
yeah, it's
All
good.
right, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so go access study materials. Oh yeah, click it again for me. Did it show up in there? Yeah. Okay, hold on. Close that out actually, and then click it again. Yes, yeah, you're right, it is. And then allow, and then it should be over on this corner. I think that's what she did as well, was
Okay.
said study materials,
Mhm.
not, yep. Oh my gosh, your brightness is
Sorry.
so low. I know, see, oh, it's right there, see, open, okay, so you just need to close this, cause it's telling you to get the app, which you can, but if you clicked open though, so like, I'm an iPad person, so I feel like I should be able to do this. I'm sure it's blocking pop-ups somehow. How do we tell it to do that?
Let's find out where I'm going
Ah.
before I start
No?
wandering around again.
That's so weird. Okay, so one thing you could do is get the app
Okay.
separately
Yeah.
and then log into it with the same login, and then the textbook will be there. So that it, but it's weird, cause it's like, it's
Yeah.
not, it's like the page is frozen or something. Do you already have the app? It looks like you might, no, okay, so if you wanna download it there, you can
Okay.
do that. I'm not sure what to say why it's doing
Okay.
that, just do the app and then, but like, I have it on my iPad. If you're on a computer, it might be easier to just, but,
Okay.
yep,
Okay.
and then log in with your same login. You want, if you wanna stay, make sure it works.
Okay.
It's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind. I'm finding my next class.
No,
so
you're
avoid
fine,
being
I don't
late like
care, I'm
last
just
time.
gonna be here, so.
I can turn up the brightness. This thing has no backlight.
Okay, do you have the book bundle? Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you shouldn't have to do this then. So go back to Blackboard
Okay.
and go to Pearson there. Now, if this doesn't work, we'll go to that course support thing. Yeah, so there's something wrong with your book bundle then. So don't pay for anything. Go back to this. Is that not a touchscreen? Never mind.
It's not.
Okay, so close that out and click on course support. So this is gonna link you to Follett, who's like basically our bookstore provider. And so if you do contact support, you can also just call the number for the bookstore, but this is probably gonna be faster to go through this
Okay.
way.
I
So-
was already emailing them during class, but
Yeah.
she said that I have everything, but I don't have access to it, so.
Yeah, so it's not that you wanna go to Bookshelf, so it's your link to your Pearson. So email her, okay, so you already have this started, you don't need to go through the course support stuff.
I started it.
Yeah, what I would do too is, I was gonna say send screenshots, is that already what's on there?
I think this is just
Okay,
from this.
so go back to Blackboard, and let's click through the Pearson thing, and let me just like show you what to send her.
So click this.
Yeah. Okay, so take a screenshot of that, and then also take one of my course thing where it says, the Pearson. Okay, so go back to the Blackboard tab,
I was trying to,
do your screenshot, sorry.
yeah, I don't know what it's doing.
Just do like a full page one, is that,
I can just,
okay.
and then you want me to screenshot this
Yes,
too?
this, so that she knows which course it is and that it's a link through Blackboard, because she's talking about, when you have like e-textbooks that are standalone e-textbooks, like they're not part of a particular course on Pearson or McGraw-Hill or whatever, that those will show up in a different place. So it's not about the e-textbook, it's about the Pearson subscription.
Okay.
Yeah,
And-
so flip the order of those pictures, but say, you know, it's a Pearson subscription that's not showing up, not an e-textbook. Cause like, yeah, our textbook is part of that Pearson subscription, but the point is that the book bundle pays for the Pearson subscription,
Yeah,
so.
okay, so you just want me to say, like, I don't have access to the
The
Pearson?
Pearson subscription, you know, through my professor's Blackboard course. And you can tell, or like, you know, lots of other students in the class are able to click through that link and get access to it. And then just let me know whether or not it gets sorted out. It might take some back and forth. Did you initiate that through the course support button that I showed you, or did you just email the bookstore directly?
I just emailed the
Okay,
bookstore.
yeah, if this email doesn't work, then go through the course support
Okay.
thing, cause that's like the main Follett people, not just the on-campus people, and they should be able to sort through it.
Okay,
Hi. Okay, so let's see, library, I think. Okay, you're logged in, are you logged into your, okay. Let me see how it looks on mine when I do that. This will be good too, cause I think I'm not logged into Pearson right now. Let me see your webpage again. Oh, add course, that's what we need to do. No, we need to add my course. Okay, so you are in my class.
Thank you for your help.
Yeah.
Have a great one.
No problem, you too. I'm just gonna push some buttons and see if I can get it to work. Okay, so last time it didn't ask us to allow it. No, it's doing the same thing. Oh, I think it's because it's on an app, because it's saying use a browser. So I think what you're gonna have to do is go through, on a browser, go through this one and open Pearson Plus so that it links it to your Pearson Plus account. Then it should show up in the app after that. So try doing that, go through a browser. If that doesn't work, you can contact Pearson support, but I would say just do it through a browser, like a regular, laptop. And let's see if that works. And then just email me so I know one way or the other if it worked.
you.
Yeah. Okay, was anyone still from the 9 o'clock class asking questions? No. Okay.